I screamed 6 months. I don't even know when it came out of my mouth. I'm like, 6 months. And I wanted to say 8, but I said 6. And thinking about it now, what if I said 8 and they're like, oh yeah, be going back to where you're coming from? What would I have done? Really, really. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how we relocated to Canada while I was 8 months pregnant. Yeah, it was a long journey. Let me just get right into the story. Totally unplanned. We didn't plan to have a baby. I was having this serious tummy pain, and I'm like, told my husband, let's head to the hospital and find out what's going on. Because prior to the whole tummy pain event and everything, I already knew that I had fibroids, and the doctor at the time told me that it was big enough for me to take them out. But I said I wasn't ready to take it out. I didn't want to have any incisions on my body just yet. So in my mind, I'm like, it's going to have to be the fibroids that's giving me this problem. So I went to the hospital, they ran tests and everything. The results came out, and looking at the results, it looks like everything was normal. It was still the fibroids, right? And then I flipped to the next page and I saw early sepsis. And when I saw early sepsis, I'm like, I didn't know what sepsis was at the time. So the first thing that came to my mind was fear. Is something else wrong with me? Like, what is early sepsis? And so I ran to Google and I checked and I saw early pregnancy. I was so upset. I was sad. I was angry. When I tell you guys that I cried for 2 days straight, because we were planning to relocate, right? And you're going to a new country. You have to hustle, you have to work, you have to, settle in first. And my plan was get a job, make a little money, be comfortable first of all before you bring a child into this world. Like, I do not want to go to a new country and have anything holding me back from hustling and working and all of that. I had plans already, I had everything in place. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. It's in the face. One thing I'll say is throughout this process, I learned to trust God with my mind, with my heart, because the plans He has for us are good and not evil. Like, the ways of God are not the ways of man. So you don't need to understand it. That's my pastor here. That's one thing that I learned throughout this whole period. And I was so sad. I cried. It was crazy. And I tell you that in 2 months, I was having pains again, and I went to the hospital. And then the doctor tells me, oh, this is a sign of early miscarriage. You might lose the baby. I'm like, wait. I know that I was crying when I found out I was pregnant. I know, God, I know. But don't be upset. That's, initial feelings. I was crying. I know. But please, this baby is here. This baby has to stay, period. This baby is going to stay. The doctor told me, we're putting you on bed rest. Don't do anything. Just stay put. Let's just be sure that everything is going to be fine. It was traumatic because I'm not a stay in one place person. If you know me, you know that I'm always up and about. I'm always doing something. So it was hard for me to just chill, bed rest, don't move, don't do anything. Let me just you guys now the part where we had to wait, the wait period from when we found out that I was pregnant to when we got the email to send our documents. Prior to that, I wasn't really interested in the whole immigration process because I really, 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 really liked being in Nigeria. Nigeria is a vibe. Nigeria is a vibe. I enjoyed being in Nigeria. I wasn't ready because I had established so much. I had established so much in Nigeria to just just leave it all behind and go to a new country, start afresh. I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was content with where I was. Like, I was content with my life in Nigeria, and I wasn't ready, to move. And finding out I was pregnant was like that push. I now started being proactive. I started asking questions. Before, I didn't even send. I'm like, well, anyhow, anything, like, what's happening? Oh, we're going to do medicals today. Oh, fine, let's go. Well, immediately I found out that I was pregnant. I'm sure my husband was tired of me because it was back to back. How far? Had they sent an email? I was on his neck. From the time we found out I was pregnant to when we sent our documents for stamping and all of that, it was already 7 months. That was like the longest wait of my life. I kept waiting for a response. I had to do my medicals twice. I practically did a lot of things 2 times. And oh my God, the one thing that I've always begged God for is not to have my kids in Nigeria. That was like between me and my chi, me and my God. Signed, sealed, and delivered. I'm like, God, I don't want to have any of my kids in this country. That's one thing I wish that my parents did for us, but they did not. So I'm going to, make life better for my baby to be abroad. Shikina. Like, let's not even play about it. And I'm sure God heard me because the way things happened was very miraculous. Between when we found out that I was pregnant to when we submitted our documents for stamping, I was already 7 months gone, and we were pressed for time. So when they asked us to send our documents, ideally people sent to GFS in Lagos. We just went to Egypt, like we sent our documents to Egypt and it got stamped in 2 days. Our document got stamped in 2 days. And the whole process, sending it and then getting it back, took us roughly about a week or two. It was sharp. We got our document. I was super excited. But then a new fear was unlocked. I was already 8 months pregnant at this point. I know they don't let pregnant women fly when you're past a certain, time. And I was already 8 months. I'm like, God, what's going to happen at this point? Will these people let me fly? Like, what's it going to be, basically? Let me just give you guys the gist of how this all happened. The day came. We packed our bags. We were ready to go. I wore a black hoodie, black joggers. I wasn't trying to conceal my pregnancy. I was just trying to be as comfortable as possible. Got to the airport, went straight to where we check our bags in. We had this guy who was helping us out. He was with us doing like a lot of stuff. And when he saw me, first he was like, congratulations, madam, and all of that. So when he did that, I'm like, there's no way these people see me and not say something. I was scared, but I'm like, there's nothing I can do at this point. And he told me, when you go to check your bag, they're going to send you for a screening to see if you're safe to fly. Like, okay, cool. And so I went there. They checked my bags, they checked our bags. And I was right in front of this woman's face and she didn't notice shit. Like, she saw me, she didn't tell me, go for the screening. And see, I wasn't about to say, hello, am I going for screening? I wasn't about to do that because I want to leave. I wasn't going to announce myself. Anyways, the woman didn't notice that I was pregnant, so she let me go. So we passed that stage and we got to where the final check before you get to the waiting area. And this woman appeared from nowhere. And she's screaming, Madam, you're pregnant. I'm like, yes, I'm pregnant. She's like, hey, please tell me the truth. How many months? How many months? And I didn't know when I blurted 6 months. She was like, okay, safe flight. I'm like, God. I screamed 6 months, I don't even know when it came out of my mouth. I'm like, 6 months. And I wanted to say 8, but I said 6. I'm thinking about it now. What if I said 8 and they're like, oh yeah, be going back to where you're coming from? What would I have done? Really, 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 really. Anyway, so yeah, that's how I got into the plane. It was 12 hours. It was a long ass journey. My feet got swollen. It wasn't anything out of place. No extraordinary, discomfort. It was all good. And that's how I landed in Canada. 8 months pregnant, you guys. I was so happy. I was like, finally, I get to give birth abroad. This thing that I had already said to my God. Finally, it's coming to pass. That's not even the end of the story because landing in Canada pregnant, 2 things are involved. It's either you have your health insurance card, so you can give birth free of charge, yeah? Or you don't, and then you pay out of pocket. And see, we are new immigrants. I'm not about to start my life with paying like a huge chunk of money to have a baby. It had to be free or nothing, right? And my friends here already said, your health card, it takes roughly like 2 months. I think they said it takes like 2 months or thereabout. I had 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's all I had. It's a story for another day. I'm going to be just telling you guys how I got my health insurance in less than a week, how we got an apartment, how we settled in, basically, in the next video. You have to watch. Notifications on and all of that. Your girl, the Prim. Peace.